Wil Wheaton.
Richard William Wil Wheaton III is an American actor, blogger and writer, known for his portrayals of Wesley Crusher on the television series Star Trek: The Next Generation, Geordie LaChance in the film Stand By Me, Joey Trotter in Toy Soldiers, and for his recurring role as a fictionalized version of himself on the CBS sitcom The Big Bang Theory.
Early life.
Wheaton was born in Burbank, California, to Debbie, née O'Connor, an actress, and Richard William Wheaton, Jr., a medical specialist. He has a brother, Jeremy, and a sister, Amy. Both appeared uncredited in the episode, When the Bough Breaks of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Amy also appeared alongside Wheaton in The Curse.
Career. Acting.
Wheaton made his acting debut in the 1981 television film A Long Way Home, and his first cinema role was as Martin Brisby in the 1982 animated film The Secret of NIMH, the movie adaptation of Robert C. O'Brien's Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH. He had a minor role in the 1984 movie The Last Starfighter as Louis Friend, but it was cut out. He first gained widespread attention in 1986 as Geordie LaChance in Stand By Me, the film adaptation of Stephen King's The Body.
Star Trek.
From 1987 to 1990, he played Wesley Crusher in the first 4 seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation. This became a recurring role later in the series. Although his Star Trek character, and by extension Wheaton himself, was disliked by a vocal group of Trekkies during TNG's first run, he commented about his critics in an interview for Web Talk Radio. Wheaton's popularity among the Star Trek fandom is covered in a number of webcomics. Arcane Times of March 25, 2005 offers a sympathetic position. Something Positive presents a range of opinions as part of the storyline Mike's Kid. Abstruse Goose tries to distinguish between the character and the actor.
Post-Star Trek.
In 1991, he played Joey Trotter in the action film Toy Soldiers. After leaving Star Trek, Wheaton moved to Topeka, Kansas, to work for New Tech, where he helped to develop the Video Toaster 4000, doing product testing and quality control. He later used his public profile to serve as a technology evangelist for the product. Wheaton said this was a period of growth in his life, and living away from Los Angeles helped him deal with anger issues. He came back to Los Angeles, attended acting school for 5 years, then re-entered the acting world. In the late 1990s, Wheaton appeared in several independent films, including the award-winning The Good Things, in which he portrays a frustrated Kansas toll booth worker. It was selected Best Short Film at the 2002 Deauville Film Festival. He received the Best Actor award at the 2002 Melbourne Underground Film Festival for his performance in Jane White's Sick and Twisted.
Voice work.
He has worked as a voice actor in cartoons, video games, audiobooks, and anime, beginning with the role of young Martin Brisby in The Secret of NIMH at age 10. His most noteworthy credits include the roles of Aqualad in the cartoon Teen Titans, the voice of radio journalist Richard Burns in Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, Kyle in the Nickelodeon cartoon, Kyle plus Rosemary, himself and various other characters on both Family Guy and Seth MacFarlane's cavalcade of cartoon comedy, The Second Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, on Batman, The Brave and the Bold in the episode Fall of the Blue Beetle. Yakumo in Kurakami, the animation, Menma in Naruto, Hans in Slayer's Evolution and Aaron Terzif in Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn. He appeared as himself in a skit on nerdcore rapper MC Frontlot's 2008 album Final Boss, attempting to be a rapper, whose rhymes only involved shellfish. He later collaborated with Frontlot on Your Friend Will, a track from the 2010 album Zero Day on the subject of Wheaton's law, which states "Don't be a dick." The phrase was in use before Wheaton's blog post. Wheaton and Frontlot have both appeared at the Penny Arcade Expo, PAX. Wheaton has also narrated a number of best-selling audiobooks, mostly in the science fiction and fantasy category, including Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, Red Shirts by John Scalzi, and books 6 to 10 of the Chronicles of Amber series by Roger Zelazny.
TV and web series guest appearances.
He was a contestant on a 2001 episode of The Weakest Link featuring Star Trek actors attempting to win money for charity. Wheaton's had guest appearances on the November 23, 2007 episode of the TV series Num3RS, and the October 22, 2008 episode of the series Criminal Minds. He has also appeared in internet presentations, including a cameo in a comedy sketch, Lockout for Loading Ready Run, and a reprise of the same the following year in Commodore Hustle 4, and the May 30, 2008 episode of the internet series Gorgeous Tiny Chicken Machine Show. Wheaton appears in seasons 3, 4 and 5 of the web series The Guild as Forks, the leader for a rival guild known as Axis of Anarchy. He also appears in seasons 2, 3 and 4 of the TV series Leverage, as rival computer hacker Colin Chaos Mason, antagonist to Leverage team hacker Alec Hardison. He makes regular appearances in many web productions for Geek and Sundry, including hosting Tabletop, a board game-based show on the channel. He appeared as himself in several episodes of situation comedy The Big Bang Theory, starting in the 5th episode of the 3rd season The Creepy Candy Coating Corollary, 2009. On the show, Wheaton behaves in comically petty and manipulative ways towards main character Sheldon Cooper, who regards him an arch-enemy until the 5th season episode The Russian Rocket Reaction, when they make amends and become friends. Wheaton appears in 12 episodes in a recurring, guest-starring role on Eureka, playing Dr. Isaac Parrish, the head of the Non-Lethal Weapons Lab at Global Dynamics and a thorn in Fargo's side.
Live shows.
Wheaton has performed improvisational and sketch comedy at the Acme Comedy Theatre in Hollywood. He has a traveling sketch comedy improv troupe called Ernest Borg 9 that performs science fiction-related comedy at conventions. Wheaton is one of the 3 headline acts of the WOOTSTOCK shows, appearing in nearly all of them when his filming schedule has allowed.
Hosting.
From September 2006 to September 2007, he hosted a Revision 3 syndicated video podcast called In Digital along with Jessica Corbin and veteran host Han Choi. Wheaton hosted a NASA video on the Mars Curiosity rover which landed on Monday, August 6, 2012. He has also hosted Second Watch, interviews with cast members and producers of the science fiction series Falling Skies that appears online after each episode. On April 3, 2014, Wheaton announced on his blog that his new show called The Wil Wheaton Project would premiere on the Sci-Fi Network at 10 p.m. on May 27 for an initial projected run of 12 episodes.
Writing.
Wheaton runs his own blog, wilwheaton.net. Between 2001 and late 2004, he operated a message board, known as the Soapbox, or Paracosm, as part of the blog site. 2 collections of writings taken from postings to the message board have been published, titled Boxer Shorts, ISBN 1-932461-00-0, and Boxer Shorts Radu, ISBN 1-932461-03-5. He contributes regularly to the Los Angeles-based Metro blogging site. In June 2005, he became that month's featured tech writer for the Suicide Girls Newswire. He had a monthly column, entitled Will Save, in the Dungeons & Dragons-based magazine Dungeon, until May 2005. From January 2005 to October 2006, he wrote a column for the Onion Avenue Club about early video games, called Games of Our Lives. On December 12, 2008, he returned to his role as Geek and Review editor, with his editorials being published every second Wednesday of the month. In early 2003, he founded the independent publishing company Monolith Press and released a memoir entitled Dancing Barefoot. Monolith Press was founded on the idea that publication should not be limited by opportunity. Most of the entries are extended versions of his blog entries. Dancing Barefoot sold out 3 printings in 4 months. In winter 2003, Wheaton signed to publisher Tim O'Reilly with a 3-book contract. O'Reilly acquired Dancing Barefoot, and published his extended memoirs, Just a Geek, in summer of 2004. He has since written about his bitterness regarding how the book was marketed, believing it was pitched as a Star Trek book when he intended it as more of a personal memoir. Subsequently in 2007, his next book, The Happiest Days of Our Lives, was again published by Monolith Press. With the release of Sunken Treasure, Wil Wheaton's Hot Cocoa Box sampler in February 2009, instead of using traditional publishing, Wheaton decided to self-publish using Lulu Publishing, releasing paperback and digital copies, something he has continued to do with all his publications since. As a tripbook, Sunken Treasure contains several small extracts of various different projects, including 2 short stories from Ficklets, an Acme comedy sketch, William's Tell, and a Criminal Minds production diary. The production diary was later released as an audiobook. Later that same year, Wheaton released Memories of the Future, Volume 1, a humorous critique, as well as an account of Wheaton's own experiences with and memories of the first 13 episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Closing up 2009, Wheaton published a special edition of The Happiest Days of Our Lives, which also included an afterword by his son, Ryan. The Happiest Days of Our Lives and Sunken Treasure were also released on a Creative Commons license.
Politics.
Wheaton described himself as a liberal in 2005. In September 2006, he criticized George W. Bush's anti-terrorism plan, "Shame on President Bush. Shame on his Republican allies in Congress, and shame on the spineless, cowardly Democrats who did not stand up to them." In a column that he wrote for Salon.com in 2005, The Real War on Christmas, Wheaton attacked conservative commentators like Bill O'Reilly, Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity for influencing the political views of his parents, with whom Wheaton found himself unable to have political discussions during family get-togethers on holidays like Christmas. Wheaton's parents were very offended by the article, and he posted a lengthy apology on his site and an interview in which his parents clarified their political views. On August 24, 2007, he gave the keynote for the yearly Penny Arcade Expo, which was subsequently made available online. He stepped in following a public battle between the formally scheduled keynote debate participants, noted anti-games activist Jack Thompson and Hal Halpin, the president of the Entertainment Consumers Association, ECA. Much of Wheaton's address focused on the debate over violence in video games. He also gave the keynote at PAX East 2010 in Boston, Massachusetts. He supported Barack Obama in the 2008 presidential election and opposed Proposition 8, calling it nothing but hate and discrimination.
Games.
In 2003, Wheaton mentioned his love for the game of poker on his blog. The following year, he began writing more extensively about his poker-playing experiences, including stories about playing Texas Hold'em tournaments locally and in Las Vegas. Eventually, he worked up to regular play, including a run at the 2005 World Poker Tour Championships. On June 23, 2005, Wheaton accepted an invitation to join Team Poker Stars. He went on to play in that year's World Series of Poker and was the guest speaker for the 2005 Barge Banquet. In June 2007, he announced he would no longer be on Team Poker Stars due to changes in the U.S. legal system that would cause poker sites to have to focus on European and Asian markets, and held a farewell Poker Stars tournament on June 5, 2007, which he titled So Long and Thanks for All the Chips. Wheaton is a Dungeons & Dragons player, and played during the PAX 2010 event using the 4th edition rules. Wheaton, along with Week cartoonists Jerry Hawkins and Mike Krahulik of Penny Arcade, and Scott Kurtz of PvP, played in front of a live audience. The game was hosted and recorded by Wizards of the Coast with Chris Perkins as the Dungeon Master. Wheaton also played D&D 4th edition at the PAX 2011 event using the 4th edition rules, and used the D&D Next Play test rules at PAX Prime 2012. Wheaton also hosts the web series Tabletop, where he explains how to play various card, board and dice games, then plays around with celebrity guests. Wheaton will also be starring in the forthcoming Kickstarter-funded game There Came an Echo by Iridium Studios.
Comic book.
Wheaton made a guest appearance as a fictionalized version of himself in the comic book PS-238, in which he harbors the power of telekinesis. Wheaton's debut comic book The Guild, Forks, which he wrote alongside Felicia Day, was released on May 23, 2012.
Audiobooks.
Wheaton recorded the audio CD of Peter and Max, a Fables novel by Bill Willingham, which was released on December 8, 2009. As well as the audio CD of Ready Player One written by Ernest Cline. Wheaton narrates many audiobooks, including Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, Masters of Doom by David Kushner, Fuzzy Nation and Red Shirts by John Scalzi, and other Scalzi works, and by way as part of Metatropolis, Cascadia by Tobias Buchel. Wheaton has also recorded several of his non-self-published books as downloadable audiobooks. These include Just a Geek, The Happiest Days of Our Lives, and his Criminal Minds Diary from Sunken Treasure. He also released excerpts of Memories of the Future, Vol. 1 as free podcasts.
Personal life.
Wheaton was roommates with Chris Hardwick for some time at UCLA. They met at a showing of Arachnophobia in Burbank, California. Wheaton married Ann Prince on November 7, 1999 and lives in Arcadia, California with her and her 2 sons from a previous relationship. When one son was 19, he asked Wheaton to legally adopt him, which he did. Wheaton is an aficionado of computers, the internet and technology in general. He says he is drawn to alternatives like Linux because he is left-handed, though he ceased using Linux when he switched to Windows 2000. Since at least 2003, his operating system of choice has been OS X, though he still runs Linux, Debian, in a virtual machine. He also enjoys brewing his own beer at home, and collaborated with FARC creator Drew Curtis and Stone Brewing Company. CEO Greg Koch to create a geek-themed stout beer called Stone Farking Wheaton WOOTSTOUT.
Filmography. Television.
Meat Puppet, 1980, A Long Way Home, 1981, The Shooting, 1982, Highway to Heaven, 1985, Saint Elsewhere, 1986, The Defiant Ones, 1986, Long Time Gone, 1986, Family Ties, 1987, Young Harry Houdini, 1987, ABC, The Man Who Fell to Earth, 1987, Star Trek, The Next Generation, 1987-94, My Dad Can't Be Crazy. Kenny. 1989, Family Double Dare, 1990, Monsters, 1990, The Arsenio Hall Show, 1991, The Last Prostitute, 1991, Star Trek 25th Anniversary Special, 1991, Tales from the Crypt, 1993, It Was Him or Us, 1995, Mr. Stitch, 1995, The Outer Limits, The Light Brigade, 1996, The Love Boat, The Next Wave, 1998, Diagnosis, Murder, 1998, The Day Lincoln Was Shot, 1998, The Flintstones, On the Rocks, 2001, The Invisible Man, Perchance to Dream, 2001, Twice in a Lifetime Episode 22 The Choice, 2001, Weakest Link, 2001, Star Trek Themed Edition, Beat the Geeks, 2002, A&E Biography, Eclipsed by Death, The Life of River Phoenix, 2002, Narrator, Walking the Tracks, The Summer of Stand By Me, 2002, Stand By Me Documentary, Arena, 2002, also as writer, Favorite Stars, Then and Now, 2003, Book of Days, 2003, The Screensavers, 2003-02, Call for Help, 2004, Teen Titans, 2004-05, Voice of Aqualad, Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. 2005, Voice, CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, 2005, I Love the 80s 3D, 2005, I Love Toys, 2006, Legion of Superheroes, 2006, Voice of Cosmic Boy, Ben 10, 2007, Voice, Ben 10, Alien Force Ben 10, Ultimate Alien, voice of Mike Morningstar Darkstar, Num3RS, graphic, 2007, as Miles Sklar, 1 episode, What I Learned from the Movies, 2007, Batman, The Brave and the Bold, 2008, as Blue Beetle Ted Kord, I Love the New Millennium, 2008, Criminal Minds, 2008, episode Paradise's Floyd Hansen Wayne Dryden, Kyle plus Rosemary, 2008, voice, Family Guy, 2009-10, voice, episodes Not All Dogs Go to Heaven, and Partial Terms of Endearment, as himself and a protester, Naruto, 2009, voice of Menma, Kurakami, The Animation, 2009, voice of Yakumo, Seth MacFarlane's Cavalcade of Cartoon Comedy, 2009, voice, The Guild, 2009-11, as Forks, recurring, The Big Bang Theory, 2009-2014, The Creepy Candy Coating Corollary, The Wheaton Recurrence, The 21-Second Excitation, The Russian Rocket Reaction, The Stag Convergence, The Habitation Configuration, The Discovery Dissipation, and The Indecision Amalgamation as a fictionalized version of himself, Leverage, 2009-12, The Two-Live Crew Job, 2009, The Ho 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 Job, 2010, and The Last Damn Job, 2012, as Chaos, Slayers Evolutionar, 2010, voice of Hans, Naruto Shippuden, The Movie, 2010, voice of Toru and Shizuku, Eureka, 2010, Seasons 4 and 5, as Dr. Parrish, Ridakai, as Qantas, Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn, 2011, Episode 3, Ghost of Laplace, voice of Aaron Turzif, additional voices.
Film.
The Secret of NIMH, 1982, voice, Hambone and Tilly, 1983, The Last Starfighter, 1984, scenes deleted from film but included as DVD extra, The Buddy System, 1984, Stand By Me, 1986, The Curse, 1987, She's Having a Baby, 1988, uncredited cameo, Toy Soldiers, 1991, December, 1991, The Liars Club, 1993, Pie in the Sky, 1996, Boys Night Out, 1996, Mr. Stitch, 1996, Trekkies, 1997, Flubber, 1997, Tales of Glamour and Excess, 1997, The Day Lincoln Was Shot, 1998, Fag Hag, 1998, Foreign Correspondence, 1999, The Girl's Room, 2000, Deep Core, 2000, Python, 2000, Speechless, 2001, The Good Things, 2001, Jane White is Sick and Twisted, 2002, Fish Don't Blink, 2002, Star Trek Nemesis, 2002, briefly. Extended scene deleted but appears as DVD extra in some regions, Book of Days, 2003, Four Fingers of the Dragon, 2003, Neverland, 2003, Americanizing Shelley, 2007, Star Trek, 2009, voices various Romulans.
Video games.
Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge, 2003, voice, EverQuest 2, 2004, voice, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, 2004, voice, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon 2, 2004, voice, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Lockdown, 2005, voice, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, 2005, voice, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2, 2006, voice, Grand Theft Auto, Liberty City Stories, 2005, voice, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City Stories, 2006, voice, Grand Theft Auto 4, 2008, voice of Alien on the fictional show Republican Space Rangers, Brutal Legend, 2009, voice, Fallout, New Vegas, 2010, voice of RoboBrain, DC Universe Online, 2011, voice of Robin, Broken Age, 2014, voice of Curtis.
Bibliography.
Dancing Barefoot, ISBN 0-596-00674-8, 2003, Just a Geek, ISBN 0-596-00768-X, 2004, Stories of Strength, ISBN 1-4116-5503-6, 2005. Contributor, The Happiest Days of Our Lives, ISBN 0-9741160-2-5, 2007, Sunken Treasure, 2009, Memories of the Future Volume 1, 2009.